Call of Duty World War II was developed by Sledgehammer Games and it was distributed by Activision, and it was the game that was the return to form for Call of Duty, setting it back into the boots on ground formula and set in World War II, like the older Call of Duty games. So basically, a general synopsis from me for Call of Duty World War II of what it is as a base foundation of a game. It's basically Call of Duty 1, 2, 3, World at War put into the PS4 gen of consoles and gaming. And the difference is that this is an actual good Call of Duty game. Okay? There are many high positives, and there are only a couple minor negatives that I have and a couple criticism, but I mean, above all, Call of Duty World War II is a great and well-made game. If you haven't picked it up yet since 2017 in its release, I would say, hell, just buy it now. It's probably down to like 20, 30 bucks, maybe even cheaper. But otherwise, what I can say about Call of Duty World War II, I'll start off on a positive note. Absolutely perfect graphics, both in-game and in cutscenes. Everything pertaining to the audio and visuals is just stunning and brimming with color and just flamboyancy all over. I played this on my PS4 Pro, full 4K, HDR and everything. It looks magnificent. Another thing with the audio and visuals, I guess you could, but it's more of technical features alongside the audio. Great voice acting, and they also implemented the actors into the story, featuring the mocap that they usually do for games. They usually, though, do motion capture, but most times they keep the actors and actresses out of the games. In certain games, they do add the actors and actresses' likeness into the game story. And I did appreciate that, again, in this game. And they all look exactly like themselves, too, just in game format. It's unbelievable. The day and age and technology that we have advanced right now in 2020, well, hell, this was 3 years ago, so in 2017, and it's only improved since then. The voice acting, the motion capture is magnificent. I have no complaints with anything pertaining to the acting, the graphics, or the audio. Pertaining to the story, I did really enjoy the epilogue. It was very satisfying. And throughout the main story, this Call of Duty focused more on an emotional impact, both character-driven and just the sights and scenes that you would typically see in a war. And I really appreciated that they actually put that into a Call of Duty game. They've done that before, but not nearly as impactful as they've put into Call of Duty World War II. The scenes are actually emotional. They're actually resonant and demanding of your attention. And there are some QTEs in this game too, but honestly, they're quite immersive. My favorite QTEs in video games are the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games QTEs, because they are brimming with cinematic storytelling. But otherwise, this QTEs in World War II are still jaw-dropping. They really are. They're immersive, and they actually make sense to the story and the gameplay as a whole. And like I said, for the story, it is an excellent character-driven story. I have a couple gripes with it, but how they told it, the base of what they have in this game, is well crafted. And onto the gameplay too. This Call of Duty, I have no complaints, really, that much at least, of the gameplay. It has a great hitbox. The auto-aim isn't complete garbage this time around. There are a couple quirks where you'll try to auto-aim and you'll shoot and it just kind of aims beside their head and whatnot. I mean, that's not nearly as bad as what I was experiencing in World at War. In World at War, it was literally auto-aim to the chest and they were bullet sponges, or it just wouldn't even aim at them. And also pertaining to the story itself and the gameplay, this is a difficult Call of Duty game. There is no regenerative health. You have to focus on first aid kits. They tried to make this Call of Duty as realistic as possible, and I think they did a really good job with Call of Duty World War II's realistic atmosphere and the setting of it too. What I can say about this is it's like Call of Duty 3. The aesthetic and setting and atmosphere in World War II, if not, it's better. It actually makes you feel like you're in the middle of a war-torn country, and you're just trying to go in and invade, and the story itself isn't just a point A, point B. There's actually well-written characters in this story that you genuinely care about. What I can say, though, for the negatives pertaining to the story, it could have used more plot. It's a 12-mission game that could have been stretched out to 15 missions. Now, at the same time, within the story, there were times, because the gameplay started to get repetitive before you actually start to be able to drive tanks and whatnot, there were times the gameplay started to feel repetitive, and so I get if you could consider that a contradiction with me saying they could have fleshed out the missions and prolonged them to like 15, but at the same time, they could have written and fleshed out the story and the characters more. So while I appreciated and I loved the drive that they actually put into the story in this Call of Duty, I still feel like they could have fleshed out the characters especially. You care about all these characters, but really you only get a sense of who the main character is. You like his comrades and everything, and you go through their emotional tolls through the war, but you don't really... You know them as people, but you don't really know their backstories or anything. You just kind of know the secondary and tertiary characters as in-the-moment characters, who they are in the moment. The main character, Daniels, you know a lot about him, his past, what drove him into the war and everything. And on top of the story, how it was told, what I have to say is Call of Duty performed yet more Call of Duty sin. This game has definitely one of the worst and absolute most abysmal Call of Duty scenes in a Call of Duty game, okay? It's the train sequence. First, you're in a Jeep where the train is driving along with the Jeep in front of it. Never mind the fact that it could just go off rails and crush it, because isn't that usually what it would do? But not to mention, if it didn't do that, it would just split it, because trains are powerful and they go fast. And not to mention, after that, when the train inevitably crashes, because we all know it will, because Call of Duty, and in Call of Duty fashion, the train doesn't just abruptly get off the track and then derail and fall. No. Every single train car has to have some impactful cutscene for itself. And not to mention, it's a train sequence of it derailing and blowing up, but for some reason they have a random tower that a train car just has to fly right into and break everything until it inevitably has your character black out. And it's like a 3-minute cutscene. And honestly, it's so unrealistic. It's so over the top. It got me out of the moment. Replace this scene with more character scenes, okay? Expose the characters. I want to know more about them. I don't want to see a train go ricocheting at somebody and just hit somebody. I want to see a character being fully developed over action. Okay, this game, the number one sin that Call of Duty World War II makes is that it's style over substance. That's the problem. And I mean, compared to most of the other Call of Duties, this one doesn't sin nearly as much, but when it sins, it still sins pretty hard with being Call of Duty in the story. I love the epilogue mission, but the one before it, the Rhine, I didn't really care for it. There wasn't much meaning to it. It was literally just a point A, point B bridge final mission. That's really all it ended up being. It was basically a prologue to the epilogue. That's actually a good way to put it. And like I said too, the gameplay itself, it's good. The technicalities in the gameplay are fine this time around for the most part. But like I said, the gameplay does start to get repetitive up until you start to be able to drive jeeps and handle tanks and the guns and tanks and jeeps, and that stuff's fine. But beforehand, the gameplay doesn't really deviate and it does start to feel a bit repetitive. And I think this would have been taken away if, again, you wrote down more cutscenes within the story to flesh out the characters. Because overall, the story mode in World War II is exactly that. It's a story in a story mode for once. That's actually a good thing. So overall, my gripes with Call of Duty World War II mainly just stem from it being a Call of Duty game. If that makes sense, I think that makes sense. Otherwise, my final verdict of Call of Duty World War II is an 8 out of 10. It is a really good game. I would highly recommend, at the very, very least, playing this game anyway, once, at the very least. And honestly, I would play it again just to experience it on veteran because, like I said, this is a difficult Call of Duty game. You can't rely on regenerative health. You can't just duck and cover and expect your health to just magically appear. Doesn't work that way in World War II. And that's how every Call of Duty game should be, especially from there on out. I can't believe that, none of the other Call of Duties were like that. Why? Because they had to pander to the mainstream. They had to be able to sell games, sell copies of the games. And I'm so glad they took that risk in Call of Duty World War II because I personally believe it paid off very much so. So again, Call of Duty World War II, for me, 8 out of 10. Thank you.